guest who's been a pillar in the world of corporate governance, healthcare, and public health, Dr. Rajgopal Thirumalai.
I could actually then learn a lot and started doing hazard operability studies.
It's also inspiring to see how you turn your challenges into learning moments.
A lot of drugs were repurposed during the COVID times.
It's wonderful that your experiences shaped your approach.
You must be prepared for failures.
And you've also shown that successful digital change isn't just about, adopting new tools.
So I see a tremendous prospect as far as digital transformation in the pharma sector is concerned.
Good day, listeners. Welcome to another episode of FaceTime with Leaders, proudly presented by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm Charu Mehra, and today we're in for a real treat. We have a guest who's been a pillar in the world of corporate governance, healthcare, and public health. Not only has he made massive impact across global organizations, but he's also worked tirelessly to improve both workplace wellness and sustainable health systems. I'm talking about none other than Dr. Rajgopal Thirumalai. Dr. Rajgopal is an independent director at HDFC Ergo General Insurance, Zywie Ventures, and even works as a consultant with L Catterton Asia, a leading private equity firm. His extensive experience also includes roles at Unilever as Vice President of Global Medical and Occupational Health and COO at Breach Candy Hospital. He's also done fantastic work with the healthcare systems worldwide, advocating for digital transformation, public health, and ESG. Dr. Rajgopal, it's a true honor to have you with us today, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you, Charu, for that wonderful welcome. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much.
Great. So let's get started. Dr. Rajgopal, you've had such an incredible career spanning so many areas, from global public health and corporate governance to working at the highest levels in healthcare and technology. So if we were to take a look back at your journey, could you share with us how it all started and the key moments that shaped your career?
Yeah. You see, my journey actually has encompassed from academics to industry to now being on board. And it has been a fascinating journey so far. So I graduated from Medical College, Baroda, and took my master's in preventive medicine, and also did my health administration from the National Board of Exams in Delhi. And at the time, I had decided that I wanted to branch out from teaching in the medical institution to working in an industry. Because the way I looked at it was that if you are, let's say, a clinician, you can make difference to one person at a time. Whereas if you are in the space of public health or preventive medicine, you can change the population's health across the world. Right. And I got a good break, and my first job was with the Ahmedabad Electricity Company, where I looked after 2,000 employees. Subsequently, I got an offer from Hindustan Lever, joined them as a factory medical officer. And at that time, I was, of course, told by people that, look, this is a fantastic break you have got. You might probably retire from here. But I didn't believe those people. And true enough, an opportunity came and this makes it interesting in terms of how a career evolves and how you take risks and grab opportunities.
Right.
Problem in Israel at that time where there was an ammonia leak from one of our plants. So Unilever had asked me, would you go and try and set this right in terms of health and safety system? So I said, of course, why not? And that was my first exposure to doing something on a large scale outside India. Right. That was a success. And after that, they gave me a charge of the Asia Pacific region. Then one thing led to other. They gave me the charge of China, and then the Central European countries and Africa and all. And finally, after this progress, I became a part of the top 4 member team running occupational health for Unilever, and then graduated to being the vice president for global and occupational health for Unilever. And it has been a fantastic journey in terms of the experience which I had. And then I had an opportunity to be on the board of Apollo Hospitals. Even when I was working as the vice president, the company asked me to actually go and do some of these roles, because it was mutually beneficial in terms of learning and translating best practices on both sides. So that was my first foray into the world of independent board. So that's in short the journey which I have taken so far, and the other ones you actually mentioned in terms of where all I'm affiliated with right now.
Wow, wow. That period must have been so intense for you, know, when you had gone to Israel for the first time managing at such a large scale. And it's also inspiring to see how you turned your challenges into learning moments.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that your experiences shaped your approach. So thank you for sharing your journey with us.
In fact, Charu, if I can just add, there were two more instances within Unilever which actually
Okay.
helped me to evolve and grow further. One was when I was in Bombay factory. The factory
Mm-hmm.
general factory manager called me and told me, Dr. Rajgopal, from tomorrow you're going to look after safety. But I said, I don't know anything about it. He said, that's your problem.
Right.
Go ahead,
Right.
read it and do it. So I took that challenge, and I could actually then learn a lot and started doing hazard operability studies and hazard management studies and risk analysis and all, which helped the company in a big way. And
Right.
Lever then won the British Sword of Honor also, as far as occupational
Wow.
safety was concerned. The second instance was we had a great crisis in Kodaikanal where activists accused Unilever of dumping mercury and spoiling people's health. And
Oh,
a series of scientific study which we did in collaboration with the world's leading institutions and all, we were able to generally prove that this is all absolutely nothing had happened and employees
right.
were healthy. And the only thing which we then had to do was to remediate a few areas where there was a local contamination of mercury. But what happened in this was it taught me in terms of how to face up to a crisis and handle it. And you can use crisis to be a stepping stone to opportunity and learn from that also. I just thought I would mention these two examples with.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just wanted to also add on that sometimes when you are not aware of something and you get into it, you
Yeah,
tend to learn more because you do not have an idea as to what you're
absolutely.
looking for. So
Absolutely.
that was a great opportunity for
But
you to share.
Charu, you must be prepared for failures when you do this.
Absolutely,
Because if you
absolutely.
are afraid of failures, you will never be able to understand what it means to succeed after struggling. So just
No, absolutely. And I totally agree to that. You learn more from failures than from your
right,
successes.
right, right.
Great, great. So, in your role as an independent director at HDFC Ergo and Zywie Ventures, you're at the forefront of integrating ESG, environmental, social, and governance, into company strategies. Could you walk us through your approach to weaving ESG risks into risk management framework, and how do you balance these growing priorities with business goals?
Yeah, so this is again another fascinating area which has actually picked up in the last few years, if I may say so.
Right.
In the sense that companies are increasingly getting more concerned about what they do as far as the communities they operate in is concerned and what is the impact which they leave on society for a long term.
Right,
In fact, if
right.
you get investments which come into a company, nowadays people are extremely careful about which companies they are investing in. So my journey in ESG actually began when I was in Unilever. I was part of Paul Polman's team, which looked at the Unilever Sustainable Living Plan. And we were the foremost proponents of sustainability many, many, many years back.
Yes, of course.
And I was leading an important pillar for Unilever in this entire space of ESG. And I will tell you a practical example of how it helped us. When Kraft Heinz wanted to take over Unilever, the institutional investors, the ordinary shareholders, and everybody stood strongly with Unilever because they believed this was a company which invests so much in governance and in terms of sustainability. We need to support them against hostile takeovers because the belief was that a hostile takeover will only look at maximizing profits and not bother
Right,
with the societies and the communities they operate.
right.
So this entire concept of triple bottom line of people, planet, and profit was ingrained into me by working closely with Paul, and he was a fantastic leader. We still are in touch in terms of various aspects pertaining to sustainability. That gave me the background. So when I joined the boards, I was on the board of Apollo Hospitals also initially, much before HDFC and all. So right from that time also, the emphasis was on how do you bring this to light. So
Right.
the entire board dynamics is changing in the sense that what was not important a few decades or a few years back is now coming to the forefront.
Agreed.
ESG,
Agreed.
cybersecurity, digital, all this. So in HDFC and also in Zywie, of course, is a smaller company. And in HDFC, I'm part of the risk management committee. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt it very gratifying that I was able to push in sustainability, ESG, as a part of the risk management matrix.
Right.
So this is discussed almost every board meeting, and there's a separate committee which looks into it. So that's been my approach towards sustainability.
Mhm. Wonderful, wonderful. And it's so great to hear ESG framed as a driver of resilience and not just a compliance checkbox. What really stands out is how you've shown that integrating ESG into risk management isn't about avoiding downside,
Yes.
it's also about unlocking long-term value.
Yeah.
So,
There has been a recent study on companies which perform well in stock markets. And it has been proven that companies which actually are not greenwashing, but really doing a lot of useful stuff on ESG, they are
Right.
around 1.5 percentage points ahead in terms of performance.
Oh, okay.
And the world's total investable assets, ESG investable assets, are now significantly increasing across all companies. So companies are in fact understanding the fact that this is not something which you tick in terms of a
Tick.
return which you may file to SEBI or to the company secretary, but this is
Agreed.
very important for the company.
So, you've been deeply involved in digital transformation within healthcare, having received trainings from institutions like National University of Singapore and Imperial College London. Given the rapid pace of change, how do you help boards stay ahead in digital journey? What would you say are some of the biggest challenges healthcare organizations faced as they try to keep up with the digital disruption?
Yeah, so if you look at healthcare organizations, the digital evolvement, as I would like to call it, actually came to the fore during the COVID pandemic. Till then, doctors were extremely worried about telemedicine and they're most resistant to change. Doctors are most resistant to change. So at that time, I actually joined Bridge Candy at the height of COVID, and I was there for a year or so as the chief operating officer. And I had left Apollo and joined that because I wanted some hands-on experience of running a hospital. And that was the time when actually I had a major impact in terms of digitizing, the Rich Candy setup in terms of doctors doing telemedicine, radiologists actually using digital technology to come to a quick diagnosis, and even encouraged our histopathologists to look at slides and then put them as far as AI was concerned to see how you could actually identify, some of these various different permutations, combinations in terms for diagnosis. And that was very,
Right.
nurses were somehow more in tune of adapting to that because they actually felt that it helped them. And we would have sensors on the nowadays, of course, everything you can do a lot of things. You can have sensors on the beds which will
Right.
inform you if there's going to be a patient fall or something. So overall, what digital thing does as far as hospital management is concerned is it improves the productivity of not only the hospital but also of the physicians and the nurses. That is as far as hospitals are concerned.
Right.
Which happened during COVID, and I'm now talking about the use of AI, as a part of supplying medicines. In fact, was it?
Oh, okay.
So in terms of rediscovering medicine, let me put it that way. A lot of drugs were repurposed during the COVID time,
Right.
because companies started using advanced AI techniques, like they would look at convolution neural networks to find new drugs which can be given. So most of the drugs came through that. So I see a tremendous prospect as far as digital transformation in the pharma sector is concerned. You can use
Right.
AI, you can use digital means to reposition new drugs and find new drugs. Also, what is happening is that in the entire space of genetics, if you are able to decode a gene, you can understand in cancer how do you have personalized medicine. And
Right.
AI coming in a big way, this is going to be there. I'm more excited by what quantum computing can do. And that day is not far off when companies
Agreed.
start accessing quantum computing.
Right, right. Wonderful, sir. That really brings home how digital transformation goes beyond tech. It's
Yeah.
about board level responsibility and long-term thinking. And you've also shown that successful digital change isn't just about adopting new tools. It's also about guiding people through it,
Yes.
which makes those
Yes.
decisions feel so real and
You
grounded.
have to invest in training people. You have to invest
Absolutely.
in breaking the barriers which they may have. And once they realize this is in fact going to enhance their own
Help.
activity, that's when.
Right,
And there was a time when you could not have interoperability of data. Now all that is behind us. Even in the
right.
scheme and all the other health schemes in India, you can easily have interoperability of data and data safety again. The most important thing, which is very important as far as medical field.
Agreed.
All these have now come into vogue.
Agreed. Agreed. So, Dr. Rajagopal, you've been involved in several board committees, from audit to nominations and remuneration committees. In your experience, what are key governance challenges boards face today? And how do you think these boards can better adapt to evolving landscape of both corporate governance and healthcare delivery?
So, my first experience of a board committee was when the chairman of Apollo Hospitals asked me to join the audit committee. And when I joined them, some of my well-wishers told me, be on any committee but the audit committee. So I was a bit skeptical about what would happen because they said that, if something goes wrong, the audit committee members are actually blamed. But Turned out wonderful. I don't think anybody should worry being on any committee as long as you are diligent. And the
Absolutely.
key also is that, Charu, you join boards which have good corporate governance. So the most important things an aspiring director actually looks forward to. So in this audit committee, I had a huge degree of experience of helping them with clinical audits. And not only that, even in terms of you just need to be financially literate to be in an audit.
Right. Right.
Key issues bothering boards, not taking any names, but generally bothering boards is this entire concept of relative party transactions. So one needs to be very certain about what is materiality, how do you guide the boards in terms of doing them. And of course, fiduciary responsibility, fraud monitoring, whistleblowing, all this comes under the audit committee. In fact, now cybersecurity is a big thing which many audit committees actually look at. And as a board member, you should be very, very clear in terms of how do you advise the board in terms of what they need to do for cybersecurity.
Right.
You hear of a lot of things happening in the world in terms of ransomware, in terms of big companies, delaying taking the insurance and all. So there's a lot of expertise and experience around the world. But one needs to be really up to date in terms of understanding how do you enable boards in terms of cybersecurity. In fact, I've had an opportunity of being on the Deloitte roundtable on. You just need to know what is the question to be asked at a board level so that people understand the importance of cybersecurity. So that is something about the audit committee. In terms of nomination and remuneration committee, the key thing which is now happening is that people are very, very concerned about the disparity in pay between those who are the lowest rung of the ladder and those who are the highest. And stock options and so many other things come into question. But I think if you are able to understand why you are paying somebody so much in terms of the value addition, and you have a scientific way of explaining why things are happening in this way, I don't see any problem in terms of how you look at it. But you have to be thorough in terms of having a raison d'etre behind it, rather than saying that we need to do it because somebody else is doing it. That's another. Of course, you need to retain talent also. But also when you have a very close cohesion with the board, so that the NNR committee can actually explain. The other main important function of the NNR committee is to help in terms of the evaluation of the directors, of the entire board, of the chairman, and everybody in question. So there also you have got a lot of things to be able to explain to the board on how do you do this board evaluation. So this is just a. And of course, I am also of the risk management committee, and like I already told you, ESG and all is a part of that.
Agreed, absolutely. That was such an insightful way to explain today's challenges that that the boards faces, and it really shows that good governance, like you talked about, that committees that have good governance are your top priority. And
absolutely,
it's about adapting to change and not just ticking compliance boxes. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Welcome.
All right, Dr. Rajagopal. We've had some really insightful discussions today, but now it's time for the rapid fire round.
Right.
No need to overthink, just go with your gut. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Oh, that's quite simple. I look at my palms because I strongly believe that energy resides in the palms. And therefore, when you get up and look at it, you feel energetic for the whole day. That's what I do.
Wow. That's a good practice. Wow. Okay, next one. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
I would go for Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. And my reason is very clear on that. He was a strategist and a visionary. And he was instrumental for being the architect of modern India. The entire Indian administrative service is because of him. And he amalgamated all the princely states, and everyone is a true builder of modern India. So I would love that opportunity.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. What's one book that has had a big influence on your journey?
So actually, it's very difficult to point one book. There are a number of books which you read on strategy on various aspects. But I would rate Net Positivity by Paul Polman as something very significant in terms of this entire sustainability and ESG movement.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next one. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
Languages. I would love to speak many languages at the same time.
That's an interesting one. Languages actually interest me a lot. I've just started learning Spanish. So
Okay.
Okay. Next one. What is the most interesting place you've ever visited?
There's a place called Sefchon in Morocco. It's also called the Blue City. The entire town is painted blue. It's brilliant in terms of lowering stress levels. The people there are extremely laid back. I don't even know whether they put their alarms in the morning or not. But I think my wife and I, we were in Morocco for 15 days or so, and we spent 2-3 days in this place, and we came back absolutely refreshed. There's no car in this place. You just cycle all around or walk. Brilliant place.
Wow, wow, wonderful. Okay. If you could switch careers for a day, what job would you try?
I would be an art curator,
Ah,
or maybe a curator in a museum.
wonderful. That is an interesting one. Are you interested in art a lot?
Yes, yes. So I've actually got a master's degree in Indian modern and contemporary art history, and my wife and I, we collect modern and Indian art in a big manner. So we are collectors of
Wow,
Indian art. Yeah.
that is wonderful. Wow, I've never met a person who's so inclined towards art. So you're the first one, sir. Wonderful. Okay. What's your go-to way to relax after a long day at work?
After a long day at work, different ways. One is spend quality time with family, or go gallery hopping. Like I said, art is one thing.
Art.
Go around and meet up people, or relax with friends. Different ways of relaxation. Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Next one. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I would say do trust people, but with a little circumspection.
Ah, good advice. Okay, next one. What's one thing you're most passionate about outside of work? I think I know this one. Art.
Yeah, it is art. Yeah, it's art.
Art.
So, so,
Great.
so somebody who is and you should meet collectors. So collectors can be crazy people. You
Right.
start collecting at any time, at any place. That's passion which drives them. Yeah.
I just yesterday there was a news about a heist at the Louvre.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah. That was
I
surprising.
was so
Yeah.
shocked. It was
It was shocking.
surprising.
It was very surprising. It was very shocking. Unfortunately, I don't think the systems there were good enough, and very unfortunate. I don't even think they had CCTVs inside. That's what I heard yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. That was really, I mean, I really, it was heartbreaking as well. I mean, such great pieces of art were stolen.
So
So,
Mona Lisa was stolen from there, and they found it back after many, many years. Now this is stolen. The worry is that they might not find it back because
find it.
this might be broken into pieces and sold off. So
Right, because these are jewels.
yeah, these are jewels. Yeah.
Okay, last one. What's one thing that always makes you smile?
My family, my wife and daughter, they are the pillars of support for me, and that they always make me smile.
Wow, that is such a wonderful answer. Thank you so much for that
Thank you.
wonderful and candid rapid fire answer. And this makes it fun because we get to know the
Yeah,
person behind the professional.
right.
So thank you so much for sharing your life with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, with your vast experience in global healthcare at Unilever, where you were responsible for employee health programs for over 155,000 employees worldwide, you've seen healthcare from a very large scale perspective. What are some of the unique challenges healthcare systems face when it comes to managing employee well-being and safety? And how can organizations better support this in today's world?
Yeah, that's a very fascinating question in the sense that if I look back at my experience, these 155,000 people were spread across different continents. So there
Yes,
were cultural challenges and there were
exactly.
challenges of diversity in terms of thinking of the top board at all these levels. But what I had to do as a leader of health in Unilever was to actually show them that there is value in investing in health. When you look at health as a proposition of expense, you don't succeed. But when you show
Right.
organization, so we had done a lot of ROI studies across Unilever and showed them that every pound, euro, or whatever local currency you invest, you get back 4 times. So that barrier as far as money for programs was concerned just vanished. And then during COVID, the amount of work which we had done across Unilever made Unilever actually believe that we were really there to support their people, and then everything started opening up. In fact, in one of the town halls which I had with Alan Jope, the then chairman of Unilever, the feedback which we got from the employees was we trust Unilever's occupational health service more than the BBC. So
Wow.
that was a stamp in terms of doing this. But when you look at various organizations across the country and even abroad, the key thing is that employee health and well-being, if handled well, can be a source of talent retention. Very, very
Right.
important in these days of hypercriticality as far as talent is concerned. I was also a part of the Unilever's top network on safety and health and environment at work. So we were able to usher in a lot of progressive and modern practices as far as
Mhm.
safety was concerned. We would not compromise on safety. And one thing which I'm really proud to have instituted in Unilever was this entire stress on mental well-being. So we coined that entire phrase, "It is okay not to be okay," and it was,
Yes.
it was brilliantly taken across Unilever, and we were probably the pioneers in terms of supporting in mental well-being. In fact, the World Psychiatry Council actually called me along with five more experts to form a position paper statement as far as mental well-being was concerned. And they have just
Wow.
published it in the 2025 edition of World Psychiatry Council, where we are telling organizations, how do you ensure mental well-being? And that's
Yes.
a passion for me because today 1 in 4 Indians suffers from either anxiety, stress, or depression.
Right.
So that's
Right.
one aspect of it. The other thing was when you look at large scale health, is it replicable? For instance, if I'm doing something in Unilever, can other companies just pick and run with it? So the World Economic Forum actually took our studies as a replicable study, and the WHO took our HIV/AIDS study as replicable. And then through the G20 summits and all, it was sent across to all the other countries. So that was as far
Wow.
as the health is concerned. So there's a lot of scope to improve health and well-being across countries. And today in ESG, if you look at it, the social part of it, there's also a great stress on how do you take care of your
Absolutely.
employees. Yeah, so that's become very critical for companies also to look after their own employees.
Agreed, agreed. Wow, that was such a powerful way of showing the scale of responsibility. It really makes the challenges of global employee well-being come to life. And I really appreciated how you didn't just focus on the successes, but also the struggles. And it reminds us how complex and deeply human this work is,
Yeah,
especially when it spans across geographies and cultures.
right.
So wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us, sir.
My pleasure.
So, Dr. Rajagopal, you recently connected with Directors Institute.
Yeah.
What was it that drew you to join Directors Institute? And how has your experience there shaped or influenced your approach to leadership and governance in your current roles?
So, this has been quite, I would say, not a planned one, my association with the Directors Institute. I got a video link one day and I went through it and I was fascinated by one of your senior person, the name just slips me, but he gave a fantastic presentation on what they do as far as Directors Institute is concerned in terms of ESG, in terms of the international sort of best practices in corporate governance, and then this new
Right.
with the Oxford University and all that got me fascinated. So while I've got a lot of training and I've been a practical board director and all, but I believe knowledge is always going to be lifelong. Learning is going to be
Absolutely.
lifelong. And if
Absolutely.
I learn something new, which I did not expect, I should do it. So that's how I came into this entire program, and I don't think I've been disappointed so far in terms of my interactions or in terms of the study material which has come along. If at all, I am feeling a bit slightly overwhelmed with the amount of homework which you guys keep sending me. But I take it in good spirit because they are all value adding. I'm on the first
Right.
module now of ESG. And as I go through the videos and as I go through the notes and the amount of books which you send me and all, I think there's a great degree of value addition there. It's another thing that yes, you would get a formal certificate and there may be openings to get into other places and all. But more than all this, what I call as the benefits of, let's say, being with this, I think the biggest benefit is the knowledge transformation, which happens when you deal with an institute like yours. So
Right.
I'm quite positive about the outcomes of my being associated with this program.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you for such a wonderful feedback, sir. And it's so inspiring that you already have such an extensive experience. You're already a board member, a director director. So still you're looking to enhance your knowledge and gain more knowledge. So that's really inspiring. And also, the story about your first engagement really brings out the experience to life. Sometimes things are not planned, but when they
Yeah,
happen, you
yeah.
know you tend to feel like this was the right step. So thank you for sharing that with us, and I wish you all the best
Thank you
for
so
your
much.
future goals. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you for your time and thank you for the interview. It was quite fascinating.
Absolutely. And there we have it, folks. What an incredible conversation with Dr. Rajagopal. From healthcare governance to ESG, digital transformation, and those jaw dropping leadership stories. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely walking away with a lot of new insights today. What a ride! Thank you for tuning in. If you've been inspired by Dr. Rajagopal's journey, as I have, then I hope you're already thinking about how you can level up your own leadership game. Until next time, folks, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll catch you on the next episode of FaceTime with Leaders. Thank you.
I'm good.